Today I'm going to teach you what to do with that leftover rice. It could be leftover rice from a previous dinner or leftover rice from your favorite Chinese takeout or your favorite Thai restaurant, which is my case. Sometimes that rice, after you eat it that night when you did your takeout, the next time you open it, it's dry and kind of like not very attractive looking and you don't really want to eat it again. This is a great idea to reuse that leftover white rice, okay? So we're going to start with a cup of that leftover boring white rice. We are also going to use 1 tablespoon, good amount of butter, a little pinch of salt. We're going to also use the zest of a lime or a lemon, whatever you have in hand. This time my limes were zesting better, my lemon wasn't zesting very well. So, and it converted a half a lime, converted into a teaspoon of the zest. I'm also going to use 1 tablespoon, maybe tablespoon and a half of lime juice, freshly squeezed from another lime. We're also going to use frozen peas. All you need to do with these is throw some hot water in it, let it sit there for 5-10 minutes, and then drain the water out and they're ready to use. You will use these at the very end, okay? Do not put them at the very beginning because then they turn that mushy green that it's not as pretty. I like them to stay bright and pretty and crisp and crunchy, and it adds another level of texture to your creamy rice. And the last ingredient is some good quality Parmesan cheese. So I'm going to show you how to mix it and then how to put it in the microwave and you'll be all set. It's super easy and super yummy. So we're going to start with our rice and then we're going to pour our tablespoon of butter. We're going to add a pinch of salt. You can always add more later. Don't do the whole thing at the beginning just in case. I'm going to do the 1/4 cup of the Parmesan cheese, the lemon zest, and a tablespoon of the lime juice. I'm going to mix it around so the zest gets spread out in the rice and the cheese kind of goes to the bottom. I'm going to leave the butter somewhat in the center because the microwave kind of heats up from the center out. So I'm going to leave it like that and I'm going to put it in the microwave and I'll show you how to finish it off. We're going to start now with the rice and we're going to put it in the microwave for 1 minute. After you take it out of the microwave, it'll look somehow like this. It's hot, be careful. And while it's still hot, you're going to swirl it around. And this is when you're going to add the peas so that it doesn't get all stuck together. And then you just give it a good mix. Look at how pretty that looks, and it tastes just as delicious. Once you're all done mixing it around, you might want to add a little pepper to brighten up the contrast of the colors. You can even add a little sprinkle of parsley, just to make it look a little bit prettier than it already is. It smells delicious. You can smell that lime juice and the cheese melted and it made it really gooey and creamy. Let's give it a try. That's very good. I think you will be surprised and you will like it. And this will give you a good idea on what to do with that leftover white rice from a previous dinner. Hello again. So as promised, here's the other option of what to do with that leftover white rice. We're going to make pork fried rice or a vegetarian fried rice using basically the leftover rice and leftover vegetables. Today is Friday here at my house and we go food shopping on Saturdays. So there's not a lot left over in the house. So I'm just gonna try to make this render and maybe serve 2 of us. So for this dish, you're gonna use another 1 cup of the white rice. You're going to use whatever leftover protein you might have. It could be tofu, it could be chicken. I had literally 2 little pieces of pork left from another dinner, so that's what I'm going to use. I have a little bit of carrots, the ones that come shredded already, and I cut them up a little bit more. And this is probably 1 celery stalk and probably 1/8 of an onion chopped up. Maybe like a tablespoon each. That would be plenty because it's not a big amount of rice. And then some sort of a savory seasoning. You can use salt. I'm using soy sauce with a little bit of the lemon juice that I had left over from my lemon, butter, and peas recipe that I just filmed. Because the soy sauce sometimes for me tends to be a little too salty. The famous frozen peas, which I like to add towards the very end, just because I like that bright color and I like them to stay crunchy. And a cracked and scrambled egg. Okay, so now let's go to the stove and I'll show you how to make your fried rice. So once your pan is very hot, you want to put a little oil in it, and then you're going to pour your scrambled egg in there. And we don't want it to look like a scrambled egg. We're gonna try to get something kind of like a crepe, okay? So make sure that your oil is hot, and you can just drop a little bit of the egg to make sure that it's hot. Do you see how it's cooking rather quickly? So that's how it should be, to make sure that it's going to cook fast, and we can swirl it around to get that crepe looking like egg. So we're gonna pour it on. And with your spatula, remove all of the excess egg. And you're going to swirl it around. Like I said, we're trying to create like a crepe. You don't want it to look like scrambled eggs. Do you see how you can see the edges? It almost looks like a tortilla. I'm going to turn off the heat for a little bit, and I'm just going to try to flip this. Hopefully it won't break. It's not a big deal if it does. And you're just going to flip the whole thing over so that it finishes cooking on the other side. Once that is done, you're going to put it on a separate plate, and I'll show you what we're going to do with it in a little bit. Okay, in that same pan, now you're going to cook your vegetables and whatever you have left that you want to use. And you want to start with your harder vegetables. So I'm going to start with my carrots. And you want them to stay crunchy. You don't want to overcook them. This is supposed to be a quick dish. Don't overly cook your vegetables. They should be nice and crunchy. After that, I'm going to add my onions and my celery and cook them for a little bit longer. You might want to add your meat at this point. And notice how I still haven't added my peas yet, okay? So you're just gonna let this, and notice how it's not a large amount. This is going to be maybe a portion for one person, maybe 2 if they don't eat a lot. Like your kids, this would be perfect for 2 younger kids. Not too much work, just a little bit of leftovers, using them in a creative way. Once those are kind of ready to go, you're going to add your rice. And to have that rice reconstitute and make it not so dry, this is when you're going to want to add your soy sauce with a little bit of lemon juice or lime juice, or even a little sriracha if you like a little heat in your food. So I'm going to turn my heat back on. And I'm going to pour the soy sauce. That'll absorb into the rice, season it, as well as making it not be so dry and stiff like it was coming straight out of the refrigerator. Okay, you're gonna swirl it a little bit. You might wanna give it a taste, make sure that it's heated all the way through and the vegetables are to the crunchiness of your liking. Let's try that. I think it's ready. I'm gonna turn that off and I'm gonna show you how to do the rest. Now I'm going to show you what I like to do with the eggs. Some people throw it in and scramble it with the rice. I like to do that little omelette like I showed you, and I like to fold it in half and then cut it into little strips. That way it's not like a scrambled egg, and it's kind of like the way it looks in the restaurants when you get that, and then you can see like the little strips of the egg. So this is still warm. It slices better when it's not that hot, but it's okay because it doesn't have to be that perfect because it's all leftovers and we're just trying to be smart. So just continue cutting it into strips. Ha, this is hot. And then put it in a bowl. And I think this was a jumbo egg because that's a lot of egg. Usually you don't get that much. Now I'm going to show you what to do with the rice that I had on the stove. So I just turned off the heat, but it just cooked a little bit longer so that it wouldn't get cold. And to that, you can see the steam coming off of the rice. I'm just going to add now the frozen peas, okay? And the heat from the rice and all the vegetables will be sufficient to transfer to the peas. The rice won't be so hot and the peas will be nice and crisp, but they will be warm, they won't be frozen or cold anymore, but they stay and they maintain that crispy green color. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see that? They stay nice and bright, okay? So to this same pan, now I'm going to add the egg and I'm going to twirl it around. And before you serve it, you might want to check and see if you need any more soy sauce or if it needs to cook a little bit longer. I like my vegetables al dente, so I think this is good. Okay, so the last step is just to plate it, and according of the with the appetite that your family has, you can do the whole portion or you can divide it into 2 medium-sized portions or smaller portions. I'm just going to put the rice on the plate to make it look pretty for you. For this one, I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of cilantro. Asian food uses cilantro, not parsley. You just do a little bit of that. And I'm going to drizzle a little bit of my soy sauce or ponzu sauce, which is soy sauce with a little bit of citrus in it. And it should be ready to enjoy. I can't find my spoon. Look at how pretty that looks. It's ready to be eaten. I found my spoon. So we can try it now, and I hope that it's well seasoned. It worked. You can sprinkle some sesame seeds. I actually just got these black ones that I think are super tasty, and they would add like a difference in color right there. And I keep them in the freezer because they have a high content of oil, and then they could get rancid. But I just thought of that. I think it could be a good idea to sprinkle a little bit of sesame seeds on it and make it even prettier. Look how pretty that looks. If you have liked these 2 recipes on what to do quick and easy with leftover white rice, subscribe to my channel. Leave me any comments with any questions, any ideas, any suggestions, and share if you would like. Thank you so much. See you next time.